So please welcome my guest this week on Rockin' Boxes Present, Deborah Voorhees, who is the director of Billy Shakespeare. She was Tina from Friday the 13th, Part 5. And now we have become really great friends. Good friends, I would say. Not great, but good. We're getting to the great part. Deborah, welcome. How are you? We're going to get right into it. Deborah, you are a writer and you're also producer. You're an actress. I want to talk about your days as a journalist, though.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about that and tell us how you got into that and how long you were as a journalist?
I was working as a journalist for almost 2 decades, and I worked with the Dallas Morning News, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, with a couple magazines called, one was Modern Luxury and another one was Front Desk Magazine. It was a really wonderful time in my life. I got to interview amazing people. It was an exciting thing to be able to know that you could pick up the phone and say, "Hi, this is Deborah Voorhees from the Dallas Morning News," and you were going to get a call back. And I always felt so blessed with the people who would tell me their stories.
And what was the best story or the most interesting?
Gosh,
I read a few.
There's a lot.
How about the psychiatric one there?
Yeah. The psychiatric patient was really interesting. He was schizophrenic, and he actually killed his grandmother, which is why he was in the psychiatric home. And trying to interview him was really interesting because you would ask one question and he would start out here and go in a circle. And he would eventually, in an hour's time, he would get back to answering the question, but you had to go with him all the way around before he'd get back to you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And your years with the what was it? The Dallas
Morning News.
The Morning News. So were you on television, or were you just would you do these interviews, go back and edit and do all that kind of stuff?
It's a newspaper, so print work. The old
All right. So I'm going to move out of that a little bit, just going in from being, because I mean, more so now you are an actress and a writer, producer, and making that transition from the being a journalist going into a writer, editor, filmmaker. What inspired you? Was it just because you were already in the industry, sort of, in a matter of speaking, or what? How was that?
I started out in the film industry in the 80s, as you know, because with Friday the 13th and several other things.
Yeah.
I just decided to leave. I wanted to get my college education and become a journalist. And, it came full circle. Initially, I had planned after leaving journalism that I was going to teach, and I was thrown out of 2 high schools because basically my tits were on the internet from, being in Friday 5.
Yeah.
And, so basically 2 school boards threw me out. And of course, at first it was upsetting, but it became the best thing that ever could have happened because it took me back to my roots, back to the film industry, which I had been all those years writing film scripts. And then I met a young man by the name of Philip David Collins, and he said, you can make this film yourself. I was like, oh, yeah, I can. And so it happened. And so, several years later, I feel like I've been spending the last 5 years putting myself through film school. And because I have several things under my belt now, and I'm about to make my horror comedy, which is specifically for my fans, the people right here now. It's for them.
And this is your this is your new film coming up, right? The List?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You like the horror comedy kind of style. Was there shows like, it was like what, Dead Like Me was one of them, maybe 6 Feet Under. Did you get inspired by any of these kinds of shows?
I'll
Or
tell you my inspirations. Edgar Wright, Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
huge influence. John Waters, Serial Mom. But also I wanted to bring in some of Hitchcock's Psycho. And
Right.
also even some of Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein feel. So think of, you know, the dark shadows and some of the mystery that comes with like Psycho, but then add in some of the fun, kitschy humor that comes with like Shaun of the Dead.
Right, right. And when you actually sat down and came up with ideas, did you pinch ideas from here and there on all these different films? Or, I mean, do you have a great creative mind that you're able to come up with, you know, the ideas that you'd have for your films? Is, you know, for
Well,
what?
the ideas is the one thing that I am not short of. I have more ideas than I can ever do in a lifetime. But for this particular one, I actually did a dark comedy that I did in black and white, and I showed it at Texas Frightmare, and it's called Catching Up. It's from a playwright out of New York by the name of Tom Syme.
Right.
It's a dark comedy. It's this woman socialite who is obsessed with what it might be like to kill somebody. And I didn't think my fans would like it. I didn't think horror fans would like it because it is a theatrical play put to film.
Right.
But they really responded to it and loved it. And that's when it was that aha moment when I went, oh my gosh, that's my film. I've been looking for so long to find the perfect first vehicle into the horror realm. And this was it. It was like serial killing socialite is like brilliant. This is exactly what I want. And it was born.
And from the indie films that you've done, like, I mean, or, you know, do you find, because you were in Friday the 13th Part 5, so what I'm trying to get at is, do you think the films are better indie compared to a Hollywood production? I mean, is there a lot more that goes into an indie film compared to a Hollywood production? I mean,
that's an interesting question. You know, I think it really depends on the individual film. There's some fabulous Hollywood films and there's some fabulous indie films.
Right.
Personally, I really like doing independent films with small crews and cast and things where, because it has this really nice homemade feel to it. It can still have the quality of a Hollywood film, but you don't have a studio on your back all the time. You're making decisions, and of course, when things go wrong, they go wrong, but you are also there to make it go right. And there's something brilliant about being able to dig yourself out of your own hole, you know? And people are so dedicated on a film set, you know, on an independent film set, because they're not there because they're making a ton of money. They're there because they're passionate about the project. And that's, you can't pay somebody to have passion.
Right, right. And when you're doing your indie films, do you reach out to, you know, the community with GoFundMe's or anything like that?
I've done both Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Both.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And turn around.
That would be my husband.
Oh my goodness. Psychotic. Oh my God.
startled me because I thought he wouldn't do that.
See?
All right, you want to come and say hello real quick, Richard?
Hello, Mr. Jason, with the hedge trimmer, hedge clip, whatever you got there. They're supposed to be like the originals. Hey, Rick, how are you?
This is my husband, Rich.
How you doing?
Good,
How
good.
you doing? It's Rich Voorhees.
Oh.
Voorhees.
Actually, I'm the Voorhees in the family. I kept my birth name.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, so that's a good segue into my next question with regard to the Voorhees coincidence. I mean, how were you selected for Friday?
Just like everybody, I was called in on an audition, and I went in, and of course they had quite a kick out of the fact that my last name was Voorhees too. So, but yeah,
like they say, like
I ended up actually going in for three different occasions because initially the role of Tina had already been cast. And but the director was looking for somebody who really understood Tina. The other actresses were playing the role as though they were angry when he comes to want to take her into the woods. And I guess I was the one, I knew you weren't going to be mad at your boyfriend because he wants to go in the woods. That's like cool. You might be trying to say no because don't want to get into trouble, but ultimately no woman is upset when her boyfriend wants to spend time with her.
and do you keep in contact with John Dixon? Do you see him?
I see him now and again on Facebook, and we've certainly said hello there, but no, I haven't seen him in real life since then.
Oh yeah, and he doesn't do the horror circuit, con circuits kind of thing, eh?
I don't know the answer to that question. As far as I know, he doesn't. But I've only done my second one just this last year, so it's not like I would necessarily know.
Yeah, I guess not. When you do the horror cons, what's that experience like? Tell people.
It was just so much fun. I've always I love to meet new people. And that was one of the great things about being a journalist is meeting, all these wonderful people. And, you just have all these people and they're so respectful and so nice. And they come by and say hello to you and visit with you. And they introduce you to your kids and their family. It's fun. It's just so nice.
So I wanted to come back a little bit on your indie films. So you said you did Kickstarters and you've done GoFundMe's, but have you got anything out there right now that anybody can go to for, well, let's talk about the list.
Okay. Well, the list, as you might imagine, it's what I'm most excited about because it's just starting. Right now, I am doing this for horror fans. It is their film. And so I'm taking him on the entire ride from the very beginning, from starting it, pre-production. Right now we're in pre-production, and I'm going to take them all the way through finishing writing it to the actual production, editing, and the release of the film. We're going to have all kinds of contests. The biggest one is the chance to be killed in the film. And that one I'm super excited about. And but we're also going to have things like where people can put out their own ideas on like a best kill contest. So they'll write and tell me what their idea of a best kill and a twist with it. And it'll be a first, second, and third prize. And if it ends up being used in the film, you'll get film credit. And of course, if you're killed in the film, you'll get film credit too. You'll be a part of the cast. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, we're going to do all kinds of different things and just lots of fun. This is the first live chat.
Oh, no, that's awesome. And so you have an email list of people can join, right? That they can join and get in on this, and they get points.
Right. Yes. Oh, yes. And you get participation points. So like if you're on the email list,
Right.
if you're here tonight, you get extra points. So let's say everybody who gets on the email list, let's say all the names, they go into a hat. And then anybody who shares something of mine or joins in on a chat or joins in on one of the other competitions, then you get your name put into that hat again. So if you participate 9 times, you get in the hat once for signing up and then 9 more times for helping and being, participating in what we're doing. And so it ups your chances of, getting killed. Yay! I've had a lot of excitement about getting killed in the film. When I came up with the idea, I thought it was a good idea, but I didn't know how good it was.
It sounds phenomenal. It does. It's a great idea. Fantastic. I was just going over to the board and checking out there was a gentleman that was talking here, and believe it or not, his name is John Roberts. I know it's John Robert Dixon, but it's funny that it was John Roberts, and he was saying Mel is an awesome influence from Psycho, and he says Psycho is a classic. But what was he saying? Hang on. Someone else was asking a question regarding who would you like to, something about casting somebody in one of your films. There was something here, I don't know. They said for one of your upcoming films. I don't know. I'm just having a look at what they're saying here. And said, oh no, we're going down here. It was Greg, I believe. Oh, who would you like to cast for your new project? That was one of the.
My female killer is going to be the same woman, Molly Wickwire Sante, who played the murder want-to-be in Catching Up. There's also going to be a male lead that I'll be looking for. I have some people in mind. Okay. I can't say yet, but if you're on the list, you'll be among the first to know.
Right.
Or if you're on the list on Facebook, but get on the email list. That's important because those are the people who are going to be the first to know everything.
Oh, okay. And someone else had asked about your days as a Playboy bunny.
Right.
Did being a Playboy bunny, did that get you a kickstart off your film and acting career? Did that?
I don't know. I don't know if it did or not. My first gig was with the TV series Dallas. If you guys remember the Dallas show with J.R. Ewing and all of that.
Used to watch it with my mom.
Yeah, did you? Okay. Well, I was a Playboy bunny at that time. And I actually ended up being on the, I was on the crew too. So I was doing stand-in stuff for them for 2 summers. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I did some more work with them. I guess I did, there were 7 episodes where I had speaking roles.
Yeah.
So that was a blast. I loved working on that set. It was really awesome.
And there was no, for them, a recurring role in that, or there was no?
It's funny. I had 7 speaking roles, but they weren't technically recurring. So, okay. It was different things. I was like Queen of the Oil Barons Ball one time. I was, yeah, it varied from time to time what was going on.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. I loved it. It's kind of strange. I mean, if you really think about it, how lucky I have been. I mean, that's an iconic show. I'm a part of that. Playboy Bunnies, that's an iconic Americana. And then Friday the 13th. I mean, it's like, so now I'm ready to make the list, the next one, because I'm not done yet. That'll give me 4 iconic things I'm a part of.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said before, I spoke to you off air, and I'll definitely be promoting you big time on the list for sure. And yeah, all your stuff, like, that's what I'm all about. Hey, let's get it out there, guys. You guys, you know, we have a great person here, and she's, you know, it's not that she's struggling. She just an amazing person, and trust me, I can tell you that firsthand from all our conversations. Someone says here, David Mace, he says, hello, Deborah. Have you ever considered casting another Friday the 13th alumni actors for this movie or any other Friday?
Yeah, it's a possibility. It just kind of depends on if it's the right role for the right person. You know, I definitely had some really neat people that I worked with. So yeah.
And that's a good segue into the next question I have, questions I have for you, which would be Friday the 13th, Part 5. You know, what was it like with the cast? You know, John Shepherd, as well as, you know, Melanie Kinnaman. I mean, you know, Shavar Ross. I mean, that's quite a. I mean, Shavar was on, you know, Different Strokes, and you know, yeah. I mean, how are they all, and Tom Morga and the whole gang?
You know, I have to say, it was really a great experience. I really liked everybody on the set. I'm kind of the girl that's always just happy to be here, you know.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, I think most everybody knows that I'm pretty much a big scary cat when it comes to horror movies, and although I'm working really hard, guys, to learn to watch them. But being on the set, to me, is not scary at all. It's super fun, you know, because I remember, you know, when people are walking around with their head or their arm or this, you know, wounded or whatever. And it's just funny when you're in lunch line and somebody's holding their head, you know?
Where exactly was Friday the 13th Part 5 shot? Were there several locations? Were there?
It was mostly shot, it was outside of Los Angeles in a, you know, like a kind of a country setting. And,
Okay.
you know, people asked me that a lot, and I could not pinpoint exactly where. But yeah, we were always taken there. It was, you know, dark, early hours in the morning by van, and I honestly was not paying that close attention. Probably should have. You know? Like, okay, is it safe?
For sure. I had the opportunity to interview Tom when he was here in Niagara Falls, and Tom Morga. And you know how Roy came in and played the extra part as Jason after Shelley had gotten chopped up. And itty bitty pieces, my friends. That lady, oh man, that lady in the movie, you know, you just wanted to kind of punch her in the throat. Not for real in person, but you know, she just had that. Oh, you're such a you know,
Right.
and she was so mean to the patients, you know, and I'll get each one of you. And I remember when you guys came, they're screwing in the woods, and you come running out of the cop car, and Eddie was like, yeah, oh my gosh. So, I mean, like you said, you had so much fun. Were there any takes in particular that kind of got ruined, or you guys had to keep taking them over because you couldn't stop laughing for that Ethel scene or whatever it was that was going on, you know?
Well, the Ethel scene, there was a few laughs that, yeah, I did have to take that one a few times because, yeah, that was, but yeah, no, it, you know, you know, unless you're the director or the editor, you actually don't know what shots didn't work. So, I mean, other than if the director says, you know, because sometimes Danny, I know on the scene in the woods, that one took a while, but we had to shoot both the film version and the television version. And so that takes a while because you have to have, you know, certain things are not in the TV.
Well, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Television version.
I mean, when it, that part of you, you know, exposing your breasts, I mean, that in all the Friday the 13th, most of the girls do. And it seems to be a part of the whole, you know, the whole sex at camp thing. Yeah. I mean, was it just natural for you, and you didn't mind? And you know, obviously you and I spoke off air, and you said that you know, because of certain things, you can't have certain people posting stuff on your walls because that's what they like to post. So, I mean, back then, was it natural for you? Was it like, ah, okay, here my top comes off, and you know, because you were in Avenging Angel as well, and you know, so and the Playboy funny thing. So, was it natural for you?
You know, no, I was nervous. I was nervous.
Okay.
John and I met I guess I want to say it was the day before, but I think it was actually a couple days before, because the first day that they did that scene,
Yeah.
didn't give me any time, and I think that was really smart on Danny's part, because he's looking at it and saying, you know, she's going to be nervous, you know, he's probably going to be nervous. So let's just get this out of the way, and then everybody can take a deep breath and relax, you know?
Right.
And I think it really did work that way. I think it was smart. But, you know, he really helped out a lot. He did several things, Danny, the director. He made sure it was a close set.
Right.
He kept a robe right there for me. And, you know, people on set, they're respectful. It's not like people are snickering or, you know, being ugly or anything like that. They're very respectful. They're doing their job. They're doing their business. Yeah, I was a bit nervous. I think when it got the most nervous was once we finished, you know, when we had to do the shot after the death. Then I have to go back into makeup, and, you know, I get the piece put on my eyes to make it look like they've been gouged out and everything.
Right.
And that was tough because it took a long time to get the makeup on, but that was also enjoyable because they were great. And the makeup people, they were just fun. So, you know, you get to sit there and chat and visit with them. And so that's nice. But by the time we get all this done, then they put the blood in my eyes, and the blood stings. I mean, it really hurt my eyes because it seeps through. You can't close your eyes tight enough to keep it from seeping through.
Right.
And, you know, and it took a while. And, you know, we're shooting the television version, the film version, and they're having to walk me around blind, and it was fine. One of the things I appreciated most is that Danny always came and took my hand and moved me where I needed to go. In between shots, you know, was careful and covered me up and stuff, which was it was just a nice, thoughtful thing instead of just, because I was completely in the dark. I couldn't see anything.
Right.
And we were in the middle of the woods with this crew, and, you know, it was intimidating.
Sure.
So, I mean, by that time I had gotten to know him well enough. It wasn't like I was worried anything bad would happen, but it's still intimidating.
Sure, sure.
So I just felt like he was really nice to be extra careful with me during that period.
Right, right. Now, of all the Friday the 13th, I've interviewed Steve Dash, Ari Lehman, you know, CJ Graham, Tom, of course, Ken. My question, and you know, to the Friday people are, what is your favorite Friday of all? You have one?
I'm gonna have to pick my own because I haven't seen the others.
Oh no! Sorry for putting you on the spot. Oh, well, hey, you know what? There you go. I mean, there you go. We've only seen 5. No, part 5. That's it. So, I mean, and of the horror movies in general, do you watch horror movies at all?
Well, no, I have some. I willingly went to go see The Exorcist when I was young. And really, I had to think about it because really after that, I haven't really wanted to watch too many. That one scared the crap out of me.
Yes.
It really scared me. I'm just like, I don't want to watch those movies, you know? So it was kind of like my early introduction just scared the living daylights out of me. But I have seen a few. Like I've seen The Shining. And it was really scary, but it's so well done. I mean, Jack Nicholson is just amazing in that. And I've seen some of the ones that are not, I guess, not as scary, but just really, I mean, just beautifully done like the others, you know, some ghost stories and stuff like that. And I've seen the Amityville, you know, horror movie and stuff like that. So, but I really think it must be, because I've been wondering, I've been asking myself, you know, what it is about horror movies. And I was like, you know, I actually asked my mom to let me go see The Exorcist. And she took me to go see it, and I saw it by myself in the theater. Maybe that had something. If I'd had somebody to squeeze their hand next to me, maybe it wouldn't have been so scary.
When you do your movies or when you do your filming and whatnot, you go out scouting. Do you have someone go with you? Do you have a team that goes out and scout where you do your movies?
Like locations and stuff for locations?
Yeah, filming locations.
It both. I'll go out and take a look at things. You know, I know how to make sure that it's good for sound. I know how to make sure that we have plenty of electricity, because I'm kind of, it might surprise you since I have that technical difficulty, but when it comes to film, I'm a little bit of a tech geek. But it's always nice to take, you know, if you have the opportunity to take a cinematographer, definitely your sound person, and, you know, a few things like that, to come and take a look at it and start looking at it, the space, and seeing if it's really doable. If it's space with a lot of echo, forget it. I'm not even going to bother to bring my crew with me. But if I find something that I think will work well, then I'll bring them in and say, what do you think? How could we like this? Where can we hide these lights? What can we do? What are the possibilities? And, you know, just to have everybody triple check issues that might come up. You know, if you don't have enough power, electrical power, obviously that's huge. And you don't want to be worrying about having a generator, because, I mean, the really good generators that don't make any noise and stuff, they're expensive. So it's best just find that location that's nice and quiet. Of course, you don't want anything if it's going to be having a lot of airplanes and stuff going over, a lot of traffic going on around you. You want all of that taken care of, especially in an indie film, because there's no time to, you can't wait for the traffic to stop. And, you know, hiring police to stop the traffic for you isn't always an option.
Right.
So.
And I don't know if a lot of people know what area you're in, and you don't have to say, but when we're around you live, do you try and stay in that area, or will you even go out of state? Or
I am more than happy to shoot anywhere. I absolutely love where I am. I'm in the southern New Mexico area, and in the Rio Doso. I'm in the foothills of the Sierra Blancas. In fact, right now, in front of me is this beautiful mountain range right here. Right here to this side is another beautiful mountain range. It's absolute paradise where I live. And so anytime I can shoot in my own back door, I'm telling you what, this is like the perfect spot for another Hollywood. I would love to have my own studio here, because I can make so many kind of films here. Within 20 minutes of my house, I can go from desert to mountain hills to ponderosa pine. You know, I have lakes. I can make it look like I've traveled across the United States and not leave my back door, which is just amazing. And it's perfect for anything from a Western to, you know, like this horror comedy to, you know, a scary movie, a ghost story, you know, Badlands kind of thing. It's perfect for so many drug cartel. I mean, I got tons of movies I can make here.
Somebody says here, Glenn says, necessity is a mother of invention.
This is absolutely true. That's really one of the brilliant things about doing independent filmmaking, because when you're slammed against the wall and you don't have all the options in the world, it forces you to make some really fabulous creative decisions to get what you need done.
Right.
And that's brilliant.
Right, that's for sure. I wanted to ask you a question, and you don't have to answer. I interviewed Steve Dash, like I mentioned, and I'm always curious, and he doesn't give a crap because he told me, he was like flat out, this is what I make. What's the royalty like on Friday the 13th? What would a royalty, if any?
Yeah, I mean, they're tiny. It's not anything.
Nothing.
I wish. Yeah, I kind of wondered why they even bother with that, because it just seems like it's not worth the accounting, you know?
It's like mere pennies or a couple of bucks.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's more than that, but I mean, you know, it could be a dinner or, you know, lunch or something like that, but it's kind of, you know, it's a lot of accounting.
Yeah, it's just for the other people that are watching right now that have never seen my interview with Steve Dash. But, you know, I know he's just like, I don't care. I got probably, 56 cents as a check or something. And he just laughs.
Every once in a while, those really
just
small ones do come in, and that's pointless. But, you know, sometimes, you know, they might be, you know, $60, $20, 27, something like that. It just varies. And of course, as time goes by, it gets less and less, as versus, you know, early on, you know, right when the film and stuff was coming out. But I don't know. It seems kind of, it just seems like it's really got to be expensive on the accounting end. And I don't think it really makes sense, you know, as far as even for an actor, you know, unless you got a percentage of the back end, you're not getting much.
Yeah, for sure. Now that's it. Wow. I'm breathtaking. I can't believe that I'm actually talking to, you know, you live here. And a lot of people, it's not that I'm starstruck. It's just the point that when I was a kid, you know, going to the movies and, you know, you seeing, you know, I told you, I think Friday the 13th Part 2, you know, was one of the movies I actually snuck into as a kid, and I shouldn't have. And then from there, I got in when I saw Part 3, Part 4, and then when it hit Part 5, obviously my buddy and I, we made it a thing at 4, 5, 6. You know, we were old enough to finally go to the movies. But it's amazing to sit here and just, you know, talk to somebody. And that's this whole world of social media, which is great. It's now accessible to people like us that, you know, watched you guys on the big screen, and it's pretty exciting that you actually get to, you know, interact, you know.
Love the new technology where you get to actually know who your fans are and know who likes horror. It's fun. You know, I think the old model where you only talked to a newspaper, or you talked on a news show, you didn't really get to know who the people were that were interested.
Right.
In this new model where we can do something like this and have people right there, that's terrific.
Yeah, and you do it right from your own home, and that's what I tell all the celebs at the cons. I'm like, we can do this on the net, right from your own living room, wherever you sit, and they're like, what? You can?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm sure you've Skyped with your friends. It's the same deal. It's just that, you know, and so
over here.
Sorry, go ahead.
But you're connected still with other people. It's not just the one person.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. This gentleman, I'm sorry, I was just paying attention to what Clint Naramore. He says, God, I can tell you from experience and talking to Deborah that her heart is in the right place with the new movie, and she is so gracious with it, including us. There you go. So.
Oh, thanks. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, there is. Glenn wants to know the email address for the list.
Just send it to me. You can. I've got two. One, you can go to voorheesfilms.com. Maybe I better type it in.
Guys,
here,
thank you for joining us this week on Rockin' Boxes Presents, and we got all the kinks worked out. I'm going to re-edit the video. I'll put it back on Rockin' Boxes Presents, and you know, guys, please go ahead, Deborah. Say the final words.
All I want to say is thank you so much, Sean, for having me on here. It is a true pleasure. And thank you for everybody who showed up and didn't leave me here all by myself. So
I'm sorry.
It.
Yes.
No, I really sincerely appreciate everybody, and am so excited about making this new film that, you know, I just want it to be something that my fans just see it and they feel like it and they're a part of it because they're a part of it from beginning to end, that it's their film. This is your film. This is something that I am doing for you guys. You know, because if it had been left to me, I'm scared of scary movies and it would have never happened. It's because I met you guys and I liked you and you guys have been so nice. And I'm like, I just got to make something that they'll like, because, you know, the Shakespeare thing's not working. You know?
And
So,
yeah, no, that's great. And please, you know, guys, support her in her upcoming projects. Please, Facebook, Sean McCauley on Facebook, and on YouTube, Sean Rockin' Boxes, as well as Rockin' Boxes Presents. And again, thank you to my guest this week. Deborah, stick around for a moment. Don't hang up.
okay.
And we will definitely find out about the list. Once the list is come to a halt or whatever, when do you expect that to come to you know, an end?
Okay, that's a very good question. I am working out the details, and that'll be part of what I'm going to be announcing. So I don't want to make any statements yet because I'm still putting the puzzle pieces together. So bear with me. The news is coming. Sign up, and you'll be the first to know.
Perfect. So sign up, get on that email list, guys, and I will definitely have that link posted whenever this is re-edited. Guys, thanks again. Deborah, you're a pleasure. You're beautiful. You're awesome. You got great work. Great individual. Just amazing all around. Everything.
Guys, like my next one. Fingers crossed.
Guys, let's push it out there. Let's push it out. We got to get it out. Come on. Woo! All right. Guys, like I always say at the end of my videos, be good to one another. And, you know, I always do say hit the music. I have no music. But in any event, not right now. But you guys have been great. Thanks a lot for coming out. And stay tuned for more broadcasts, live broadcasts with some great celebrity interviews coming up soon here on Rockin' Boxes Presents. You guys have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.